In this story, when you hear this, it means turn the page.
It's not much of a life when you're just a pretty face.
Just to be whoever you are is no disgrace. Don't be scared if you don't fit in. Look who's in the reject bin. It's the Raggy Dolls.
Raggy dolls.
Raggy Dolls.
Raggy dolls.
Dolls like you and me. Raggy Dolls.
Raggy dolls.
Raggy Dolls.
Raggy dolls.
Made him perfectly. So if you got a bump on your nose or lumps on your toes, do not despair. Be like the Raggy Dolls and say I just don't care. 'Cause Raggy Dolls,
Raggy dolls.
Raggy Dolls
Raggy dolls.
are happy just to be Raggy Dolls, Raggy Dolls, dolls like you and me.
The Raggy Dolls were made in Mr. Grimes' toy factory. He is very proud of his toy makers and believes they make the best dolls in the world. But even the best toy makers can make mistakes. Mr. Grimes inspects every doll on the production line. If any doll is not perfect, it goes straight into the reject bin. Princess should have been a beautiful princess doll dressed in silks and satins with a diamond tiara. But the factory ran out of princess doll ingredients, so she has a patchwork dress and multicolored hair. Back to front is a clever handyman doll, complete with do-it-yourself kit, but his head was stuck on the wrong way round. Lucy's joints are so loose that her arms and legs drop off whenever she gets excited. Hi-Fi is a talking doll, but he has a loose connection, so he stutters. Dottie had nothing wrong with her. She was just about to be packed and sent off to the shops when the factory decorators splashed her with paint. Sad Sack was a sample, but no toy shops wanted to buy him, so no more dolls like him were made. Claude is a perfect French doll, but he was accidentally left behind when the others were sent off. But Mr. Grimes doesn't know that there are some very special dolls in his reject bin. They all come to life and find fun and adventure. They are the Raggy Dolls. The Pigeon Race. It was early in the morning, and all the Raggy Dolls were up and about and doing this and that. Hi-Fi and Back to Front thought it would be a good idea to go for a walk. They didn't know where they were going, and they didn't care. They just wanted to talk. It would be an adventure. They met Sad Sack. He was looking very glum. In fact, even more glum than usual. So Hi-Fi asked him what was wrong. Sad Sack looked down at his big, soft stomach.
I'm too fat, he blurted. My stomach's too big and too soft.
Back to Front thought Sad Sack should join them on their walk. The exercise will do you a power of good, he said. But Sad Sack shook his head.
Thanks, Back to Front, he said. But with all this weight to carry, I don't feel up to exercise.
Hi-Fi and Back to Front felt sorry for him. They said goodbye and went on their way. They hadn't gone far when they saw some men on the path ahead. They were carrying a large straw basket into the big field. Hi-Fi and Back to Front ducked out of sight and watched. I wonder what they're up to, whispered Back to Front. They're probably going to have a picnic, crackled Hi-Fi. The men carried the basket to the middle of the field and put it on the ground. Then one of them took out a stopwatch. On your marks, get set, go, he shouted. and opened the lid of the basket. Immediately, a flock of pigeons burst out and soared into the air. Hi-Fi crackled with excitement. Wow! A pigeon race! He cried. The pigeons flew off at great speed. One pigeon was soon in the lead. He kept turning his head to see how far in front he was. Look, crackled Hi-Fi. He's travelling in one direction and facing the other. Back to Front wasn't impressed.
There's nothing clever in that, he said. In case you hadn't noticed, I do it all the time.
The pigeons disappeared over the horizon. When they had all gone, the men picked up the basket and carried it back up the path. Hi-Fi and Back to Front went the other way. They walked across the big field and out into the countryside. On they marched, on and on, enjoying the fresh morning air. Presently, they came to Pumpernickel's field. As usual, Pumpernickel the Scarecrow was on duty, guarding his patch of corn. It was a lonely job, so he was always pleased when the Raggy dolls came by. He lifted his hat and called, "Good morning, dolls." Hi-Fi and Back to Front replied with a friendly wave, "Good morning to you, Pumpernickel." A little further on, Back to Front slowed down.
I'm beginning to feel tired, he said.
Me too, agreed Hi-Fi.
Shall we have a little rest?
Suggested Back to Front. Good for thinking, agreed Hi-Fi. They sat down in the shade of a telegraph pole, but they had hardly rested for a second when they heard a faint cry. "Oh, help!" Hi-Fi and Back to Front looked round, but there was no one in sight. Then they heard the cry again. "Oh, help!" This time they looked up, and far above their heads they saw the pigeon who had been leading the race. He was tangled in the telegraph wires. When the music stops, turn your cassette over.